And the plains of Moab on the side of Jordan across from Jericho. Now Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. Moab was exceedingly afraid of the people because they were many, and Moab was sick with dread because of the children of Israel. 4.
So Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this company will lick up everything around us as an ox licks up the grass of the field. And Balak, the son of Zippor, was king of the Moabites at that time. Then he sent messengers to Balaam, the son of Beor, at Pethor, which is near the river, in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, look, a people has come from Egypt. See, they have covered the face of the earth and are settling next to me.
Therefore, please come at once, curse these people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed.
What is curse? I asked, what is curse?
It's not good.
Bad intention.
Yeah.
Somebody said bad intention, some
So
not
evil.
good. What is curse?
I had something else I was going to say.
Okay, well, let me deal with this. What is curse?
To bring misfortune.
It's a witchcraft.
Okay.
Is it witchcraft? It's a form of witchcraft.
Okay, you tell us, okay, you're going to bring that.
To bring bad.
Why come it can't be just to destroy? Curse, be just to destroy
Put
those
a
people.
spell on
Yeah, yes, okay.
Yeah, because Tiffany was making mention of it. You said we weren't going to go back. You said we was
No,
talking
I
about
just pulled the word curse.
No, but we
No,
started from
we started from
22.
one.
Oh, no, I don't mind, because I'm gonna read to where we need to go, and then I'm gonna go. We're gonna read to where we stopped at, and then we're gonna go. That's what I'm doing. But I just wondered what is curse, and I wanted to make sure everybody knew what curse meant. So go ahead. What we had?
So the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the diviners, sea in their hand. And they came to Balaam and spoke to him the words of Balaam.
And he said to them, lodge here tonight, and I will bring back word to you as the Lord speaks to me. So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and said, who are these men with you? So Balaam said to God, Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent to me, saying, look, a people has come out of Egypt, and they covered the face of the earth. Come now, curse them from me. Perhaps I shall be able to overpower them and drive them out.
Well,
God said to Balaam, do not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for they are blessed. So Balaam arose in the morning and said to Balak, leaders, go back to your land, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you. The leaders of Moab arose and went to Balak and said, Balaam refused to come with us.
15.
And Balak again sent princes, more numerous and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, thus says Balak the son of Zippor, please let son of Zippor, please let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will certainly honor you greatly, and I will do whatever you say to me. Therefore, please come, curse him, curse this people for me.
Balaam replied to the servants of Balak, though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not do anything, either small or great, contrary to the command of the Lord my God. Now please, you also stay here tonight, and I will find out what else the Lord will speak to me.
came to Balaam at night and said to him, if the men have come to call you, rise up and go with them. But only the word which I speak to you shall you do. So Balaam arose in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the leaders of Moab. But God was angry because he was going, and the angel of the Lord took his stand in the way as an adversary against him. Now he was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him.
23.
Now the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back onto the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path between the vineyards with a wall on this side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, so he struck her again.
26.
And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where was no way to turn either to the right hand or the left. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the donkey with his staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said unto Balaam, what have I done to thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the donkey, because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in mine hand, for now I will kill thee.
So the donkey said to Balaam, am I not your donkey on which you have ridden ever since I became yours to this day? Was I ever disposed to you to do this to you? And he said, no. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said to him, why have you struck your donkey with these 3 times? Behold, I have come out to stand against you, because your way is perverse before me. The donkey saw me and turned aside from me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, surely I would also have killed you by now and let her live.
This is where we're at, guys. And this is what I wanted you to see. I find this very interesting. Because remember how many times?
3.
3 times. And then remember in the 3 times, remember what the thought of this was? What was it that he wanted us to see the donkey? What was it that he wanted us to see Balaam? Or Balaam? What was it that God really was trying to open the eyes for him as well as for us to see?
To see the true will of God.
Well, to see what did they want? What did he want them? What did he want of Balaam to really see? Yeah, I agree that he's a true and living God. But didn't he ask Balaam? Didn't he give Balaam a request?
Not to go with them.
No, what was it?
And he was denying
the other request.
or disobeying, I'm
Because
sorry.
he told them they could
To
go.
speak what he was,
To do what?
to
Oh.
speak what he wanted him to say.
That's it. So the message behind the donkey was simply to get him to Balaam, because remember, understand this, Balaam is a divinator. So remember this, Balaam, does he really care, or does he really recognize the only true God?
No.
No, he doesn't.
Not at this point,
No, even then, now it's going to hit home. But even when it hits home, that's why I said when it hits home, it's still going to do pretty much what we do. You know how we keep talking about we love the Lord, but we don't do. But we don't do what God has asked. But we love the Lord. Ask somebody to tell you, yeah, I love the Lord. Yeah, I love him. Well, here's where he's at. What did he tell Balaam? He told Balaam that he was supposed to say everything that he has told him. Everything that he has told him. He is to do everything that he's told him. So far, who do we see that has done everything that's been told? That's been told.
Donkey.
The donkey. Isn't that something? The donkey. Did you hear me? The donkey. And because of that, remember in 30, is it 34? And remember he just mentioned he was gonna, if he had moved on, he was gonna do what? Then he was gonna kill who?
Balaam.
What about the donkey?
No.
See that? And he's gonna let the donkey live on. So it's a shame. Since you won't listen, what I'll do is I'll take out you. It's amazing. I said that animal says, I hear you, I saw you, I will do what's right. It's always his greatest creation that he has most problems with. Even to this day, it's his greatest creation that he has problems with. It is us that are rebellious. It is us that will not do what God has called us to do. Even sometimes in putting us in situations of life, instead of us bowing down and saying, whatever it is that you will for me to do, let me do it, we still rebel. We say, how could God do this to me? You hear me? Instead of just succumbing to the fact that, hey, this has happened, and this is what God, what are you trying to tell me? What is it that you will for me to do? Well, Balaam, even though this has now taken its course, we're going to travel. Watch what he says now that this has taken its course. So now we can get a reader. And is it 34? 34?
Mm-hmm.
Balaam said to the Lord, Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I did not know that you were standing in the way against me. Now then, if it is displeasing to you, I will turn back.
Guys, look at that again. I want you to tell me what's wrong with that picture. Look at it again.
Yeah, well, he knows it displeased him. He told him don't go.
That's one that you see.
And the anger of the Lord is already.
You see that. Something else in that verse that you need to see.
He sinned.
What?
He sinned.
He says, I sinned. So he made a what?
Confession.
He made a confession. See that? He made a confession.
He said, I have sinned.
He turned around and took it back because he's saying, if it displeases you, he still wants to go.
Well, now you were so close because you were there. It said, because you're looking at the text, it makes sense. But listen, back to you said, I have sinned, for I did not know
You stood
in the way against me, right?
Yeah.
So then, he has made his confession. What is a confession? And then you get it.
Wrongdoing.
That's what?
Turn from.
To turn, I heard it. To turn from. A confession is to turn from. What do you mean by turning from, Balaam? A confession is to turn from. So stop whatever it is and to do what? What? I'm hearing statements, but we got to put this back into the text, back into layman's terms, where it's real. Because I've made a confession. The confession is to what? To turn from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then if I am to turn from, then not only do I turn from the situation, but I turn from. I go back. What is going back for Balaam? What is going back for Balaam? Because remember, that's the confession. So then what is going back? Because I said to turn from. So then what does he do?
Listening to the Lord, obeying him. No?
We do too. We say we confess, we listen to the Lord. What is to turn back? Makes sense if you listen. Turn back. Turn back.
Go back.
Yes, turn and go back. What do you mean turn and go back? What did God instruct him from the beginning? Not to go, to turn. The confession is to turn back. But watch this. But then God tell him, then go ahead and go. So then if God told him to go ahead and go, then the message would be then, if I turn back, then wouldn't I have sinned? If I turned back, wouldn't I have sinned?
No.
Yes, I would have. Because if I turned, well, watch this. He told me not to go.
Right?
But didn't he tell me to go?
Because he knew within his heart.
Don't put in something that's not there.
No, but that's what we discussed last week.
But what?
Speak what he said.
But so watch it. So then to turn back would be to go against God again. See what I'm saying? To turn back and say, well, I'm not going to go, would be against God again. The Israelites, when they realized what it was that they were doing wrong, the Israelites then did what? They, watch this, now they want to go cross over to the promised land. Remember? I'm talking about the parents. Now they want to cross over. Well, God told them they could not enter into the promised land. Remember? He told me they couldn't. And so what did they do? Then they sinned again because now they're going to go back. Now we're going to do right. Now we're going to do this and now we're going to do that. No. So here's Balaam. I've got you confused. I'm trying to get you out of that. So then here's the issue. The issue is, you said it, Calvert. He said to speak everything I say. So then, for me to go back would then once again be me doing something my way. I've said this. Remember I said Sunday. It's the ideal of God told us to go and make disciples. So what we do is compromise. I go feed the sick. I go visit the shut-in. I'll do everything. And we can't understand why His wrath is pouring upon us. We can't understand why He's still upset with us. Because you didn't do what I told you to do. I told you to go and make disciples. But you also told me to do the other things. But you still haven't done what I've asked you to do. Get disciples and then you can feed them. Get disciples and then you can give them drink. Get disciples and then, you see what I'm saying? Well, in this case, here's Balaam. Balaam says, I've sinned. But Balaam, his sin is almost with his fingers crossed. I remember back in the day when you cross your fingers. Well, his sin is pretty much the same because he sees God as G-O-D, little G-O-D. This is what he's been involved in the whole time is little G-O-Ds. So even though this God has just shown his awesome power, he still sees him as little God. Because he sees him as little God, if I see something that I don't have to respect, will I remember what they told me to do? You see what I'm saying? If I see, and I can confuse you all, because I'm not trying to confuse
I'm
you.
trying to figure out if the angel, what was the purpose for him being there if it wasn't, if for him to turn back would be going against.
Yes, that would be going against.
So the angel was there to stop him from going?
No, the angel was never there to stop him from going. The angel was there to do what? To remind him of the God he serves. That this ain't the little bitty G-O-D. He's told you to do something. He told you to go ahead and go. But he told you to speak only what he says. What he says. Do you think Balaam was going to go over to Balak who just... Stop and think about it. You just squeeze my paws. Do you really think
I'm going to say, well, the God of above has told me I cannot curse the people. Something think about it. So watch this. He didn't see God in the first place. He saw what? An angel of the Lord. So watch this. I said the angel of the Lord, was he spiritual? Was he running around holier than holy? Did he have big wings on the back of him? You know how they give that picture of an angel? He got big old wings and he's standing there with a sword and he's got a halo and he glows and you're like, well, no. He was simply looked like a man with a sword in his hand. That said what the Lord has told him to do. You are to go and tell the people, to tell the kings exactly what God has told you to do. Remember, he could not see this person. Now all of a sudden he sees this person. Remember, the donkey is talking, which is totally unnatural, and a donkey is talking to him. So these things have taken their course to get him to understand what God says God meant. What he says do, God means. So what did God do? God is going to take something that's evil and use it for the good. That's at Romans the 9th chapter, that pot, the two pots. One pot is nothing but evil, or nothing but he put trash or whatever in. The other pot, he puts beautiful things in it. Flowers, souls, grace, mercy. He puts all those things in that pot. You hear me? And so watch this. But he can use both pots. Right, Calvert? But he can use both pots. It ain't like he can't use them. He can use both pots. He uses the pot that we would say is trash and ain't worth a quarter, just as well as the one that has all the beautiful things in it. Well, Balaam is that pot that ain't worth a quarter. But he's going to use him. Yes.
God still does that to us now.
You better know it.
Sends angels. So
You better know it. Yes, he does. And that's why he says, be careful because you may be entertaining an angel. We don't realize it, and yes, he does send them into our lives. Sometimes he sends them in to prevent you from, and watch us, with somebody that you don't need to be with. Sometimes he put blockage between that. Because he said, you've said you wanted me in your life. You asked me to protect you. So I'm going to, but I don't understand why you did this. You're not to understand. I'm looking out for you because you wanted me to protect you. So I am protecting you to enter into the kingdom of heaven. In this case, here's Balaam. Balaam wasn't going to go and tell Balak that, let me tell you what the king, when he gets there, watch what's going on. This is going to show you Balaam wasn't going to do right. But, and what you're going to see is God is going to make him. It's going to come down to this, where God is going to take his mouth and use it. No longer Balaam speaks, but God will take. Now you say, well, where does that fit in? A lot of times that's what to do with your ministers. Let me tell you, back in 1932, when I was doing something, God says, I'm trying to hear that. And so what I'm going to do is I will make you forget what you was trying to talk about, and I want you back on my word. I want my word delivered. Ain't nobody interested in what you did. They're interested in what he did. So watch your text back in 35. We already got it where he sinned, right? At 34, where he sinned, right? Mm-hmm. So now watch 35. 35 says, what in your text?
But the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, go with the men.
Watch it. But the angel of the Lord said, go with the men.
But.
Do you see the conjunction? Now you see it? But. No, you didn't say,
But you shall speak only the word.
You see, that's what the angel of the Lord was about. You are to go. You can't turn back and go back, because that's going against me.
Right.
What I told you to do was go ahead. So now you're going to go ahead. That donkey was to remind you of, I ain't that little God that you serve. I am the God that you serve. And even though that's been pounded in his head, he's just like us. We know God is real. We know God is true. And what do? We go about it our way. We still do it our way. So watch this. He told him, but, and then go on. He says,
So, but you should speak only the word which
come
I
on,
tell you.
come on.
So Balaam went along with the leaders of Balak.
So Balaam went along with the leaders of Balaam. So get back into your paper, what is it, 8. Look at 8, the bottom of 8.
22.
Yeah, 22, the bottom of 8. If you got it, Tiff.
Where it say note.
Note,
Note the excitement and expectation of King Balak at the coming of Balaam. He traveled all the way to the border to meet Balaam. After their greetings, the king expressed disappointment in Balaam's refusal of his first request. He could not understand the refusal in light of the rich rewards he had so willingly offered Balaam.
You see this? So he don't understand it. You know, man, here, look what I was offering you. Look what I was offering. Why would you turn that down? That's kind of crazy. Well, watch this. When I know your heart. When I know you greedy. I know how you operate. It's if somebody can put the money before. It's almost the idea of what is your value? How much do you cost for you to give your soul away? I don't know if y'all remember, there was a movie many years ago where a gentleman a millionaire walked up to the gentleman and asked him, I'll give you $1 million if you let me be with your wife. Yeah, if you let me be with your wife.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
De Niro.
And everything blew up. And everything blew up because,
Indecent proposal.
well, is that what it was?
Yeah. Robert Redford, Demi Moore, and Woody Harrelson.
I don't know about that, but I don't know what happened.
Oh, no.
But all I know is she gave in. He told her to go ahead and do it.
Yep.
She went on and did it.
Yep.
She slept with the man. Then he got an attitude because he can't believe she would do such a thing. How much would you sell your soul for? When you agreed that it was okay for her to do, how much would you sell your soul for? I'm watching that something, especially these Oscars or whatever have taken place. Nicki Minaj is very upset right now because what's the girl's name?
Cardi B.
Cardi B that stole, she's #1. She's #1 now. So she just stole, so she's upset with BET now. How can they do such a thing? No, how could you do such a thing?
She's upset because BET tweeted out a really nasty, something nasty about Nicki Minaj. That's why she's upset.
Okay. So look what you got. So, but here's the bigger picture. What did you do for you to be #1? Well, I just sung my rap song, so you really believe that's all that took its course? I'm giving you millions. You think I'm gonna give you millions? Anybody can make up. I can get somebody to write a rap song. You really think that's all it took? Just like Cardi B. You see the gentleman that she was with, right? That was supposed to be her husband or her boyfriend.
That's her husband.
Okay. But you see all the tattoos on his face? You didn't see him?
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, like I said, I was like, who is he? I said, who is that thug that's with her? Because I said, she ain't a bad looking girl.
Yeah,
She's a thug.
Yeah, huh?
Cardi B is a thug too.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, because I don't know. See what I'm saying? But I figured if she's a rapper, she's trash too. That's what I'm saying. And I figured that too, she's trash too. And I said, and so what did you do to get noticeable, for somebody opens the door. Remember, you're going into a millionaire or a billionaire's world, and you bring in what? Nothing. You ain't got nothing. Stop and think about it. So that's why I said, so what did it take for you to get on top? That's it. Probably got on top. But you hear what I'm saying? But this is how deep this can go, where I can go, how much do I need to do to advance my career? And you get to the point where you don't even, where it doesn't bother you. It's a lifestyle that really doesn't bother you, where it would tear us apart to hear this kind of garbage. But yeah, at the same time, it's no big thing. That's why they get married and they go for the next person, marry the next one, marry the next person. It ain't no big thing. I don't know what you fuss and fight about. It ain't no big thing. Just you do your thing, I do my thing. Well, I'm getting back to Balaam. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just like understanding how God is able to go into whatever world you think you're in, where you believe you're untouchable.
Come on. Okay.
And that's what he did with Balaam.
That's where I'm at.
He came in his world. That's why you see the donkey talking to him. Right. In his world, is he divination. These kind of things are not strange to him in his world, because this is the stuff that he's been manipulating. Right. He does this sorcery kind of stuff. So,
and so
he underestimated God, though.
Well, that's because he sees God as little G-O-D. He still doesn't see him as the supreme being. He sees him as a little G-O-D. So, and what is he doing? And so the angel says, let me remind you, he told you when you go, you're only to speak what God has told you to do. Watch this. We know that God is all-knowing, right? Balaam ain't going back to tell him what the God has said. That's what you got to see. He's an evil person. But God is going to take that which is evil and bring out the good. To the point that if I have to shut your thinking up to get what I need across, I will do it. So then watch this. I want you to see it. Let's get back into the text. He says what? We're at what, 38? 37. 37.
No, we're 36.
36. 36 says what?
Balaam heard that Balaam was coming. He went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the, Arnon?
Border of Arnon. Okay.
At the extreme end of the border. Then Balak said to Balaam, did I not urgently send to you to call you?
Go ahead.
Why do you not come to me? I'm really unable to honor you. So Balak said to Balaam.
Remember, he didn't say, I'm really.
Am I?
Read it again.
It says, am I?
It's got to be, because that's where we're at.
Am I really unable to?
Go ahead and read it.
Yeah, am I unable to
am I unable to honor you?
So
Watch this. This is the king. The king can do what? The king can give him anything he wants, right?
Yep.
Watch this. Don't you know that, Balaam? That I can give you anything you want. After all, you done sold your soul how many times? If you really stop and think about it. And the king is aware of this. Man, you practice sorcery. Stop and think about it. The king is aware of this. So how many times have you sold your soul? So now we got an issue. He goes on, he makes that statement, then watch it. Then he says what? Where we at? 38?
38.
Watch 38.
Balaam said to Balak, behold, I have come down to you. Am I able to speak anything at all? The word that God puts in my mouth, that I shall speak.
So watch this. I'm listening to how Steve is reading it. Let me put the twist so you can see this. While he's reading it, I want you to listen to the twist. The Bible says that Balaam said to Balak, look, I have come to you. Hello, I've come to you. What's your problem? I did come to you. That's the ideal of that thought. I came to you. See that behind the colon? Yeah, see that? You see that colon? So he says, look,
Exclamation.
what's your, right, explanation, I'm sorry.
No worries.
What's the problem? I came to you, so I have come to you. But watch this. He's not through this thought. He says, now, have I any power at all to say anything? You think I have the power to say anything I want to say? This is where he's at. I told you he came back at him sarcastic. Balaam came back at Balak sarcastic. You know, you talking about you could give me anything, but wait a minute. Why didn't I come to you? I'm here, man. What's the problem? But now that I'm here, you're going to have to understand. Now that I'm here, the words that God put in my mouth, that I must speak. See this? Watch this. What I want to say, I can't say. Because I know what's going to happen. You're going to get mad, and you ain't going to want to give me nothing. But I don't have a choice. This is what Balaam is trying to get him to understand. I don't have a choice. Man, you don't understand. I just witnessed a donkey talking to me. You know what I'm saying? But you see what I'm saying? You don't get it. You don't understand. I just had an angel of the Lord before me with a sword to remind me he was going to kill me and let the donkey live. You see what I'm saying? This is serious. At least that's what we would think. This is serious. God told you too, you went in that water grave of baptism. You came up a new creation. You signed a bloody contract. That contract said that you were willing to make the sacrifices, that whatever God has asked of you, you were willing to make that sacrifice. Hello? Did you take that serious? Did you hear me? Did you take that serious? So before you beat Balaam up, did you take that serious? Because you're going to have to answer to that. Just like Balaam is answering to this. I'm telling you guys, it looks like everything is okay. It ain't okay. Balaam's mind, Balaam's thoughts, Balaam's ways, all of this is going to become interrupted. God is going to interrupt his life. He ain't never had a God interrupt what he wants to do. This God that we're talking about, it's going to bring something to his understanding. You want to speak and you want to say something, but every time you say something, it's almost like Acts the 2nd chapter. When you really stop and think about it, the apostles did what? They just spoke. But the Bible said there were many nations. Remember? Many nations, and they all spoke in what? Different languages. Yet, how is that we understand? How do we understand? You know, that's Peter. Don't he speak Aramaic? So how is it that I understand him? This is strange. How is this so? This is where Balaam is going to speak. But Balaam's not going to speak. God is going to use his soul. God is going to use his body. God is going to work through him, through Balaam. So then watch this. Let's get back into the text. The Bible says what? In 39.
And Balaam went with Balak, and they came to us at Koreth.
Okay.
Balak sacrificed oxen and sheep, and sent some to Balaam, and the leaders who were with him. And then it came about in the morning that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high places of Baal.
Now, Tiffany, you were reading, note how note the effects of Balaam's encounter.
Note the effect of Balaam's encounters with the Lord. the effect of God's warnings to him. Balaam replied to the king that he had now come despite his earlier reluctance. But Balaam added that he still could speak only the message that God gave him. No doubt, the image of the drawn sword in the hand of the angel dominated the thoughts of Balaam. Stricken with the fear of the angel and the threat of God, Balaam was determined to share only the message God wanted shared.
What do you normally do when you're afraid, when you're scared to death? Huh? Lord have mercy, Lord, if you take me through this. Y'all heard me? If you just get me through this, Lord. Lord, I'll never. Lord, I will do whatever you requested. That's why I told you. He's realizing, Lord, have mercy. It rocked his world. He's scared to death. It's almost, even though he spoke to the donkey, it's an afterthought. You know, you spoke back to the donkey. Well, why'd you do it? Well, you know, hey, have I been your donkey for years? Yeah, but so what? And then, whoa. There's an angel of the Lord.
Something is taking place, but you don't have no control.
And that's something, and he has zero control. And it does what? He may be speaking, but this speaking is speaking of fear. He's scared to death now. All of a sudden, he realized what in the world is going on. I keep saying, this is what we do when we are. What you mean, Doc? I may not be. You talking about I may not be able to live. What you mean? I got cancer. What you talking about, Doc? Now all of a sudden, you know, I'm getting ready to open the door and you knock me down trying to get in. But you hear what I'm saying? All of a sudden now, watch this, all of a sudden when you didn't have time, couldn't make any sacrifices for the Lord, oh, you can make plenty now. Now you can make all the sacrifices you need. You can do whatever needs to be done for God's work. You can do it now. But you couldn't do it any other time because you were too occupied with a living. Let me stop. Isn't that what Balaam was doing? He was occupied with a living. This, you don't understand, this is what I'm doing. When God has told us, watch this, when you signed off on that contract, you knew that it requires sacrifice because he made the ultimate sacrifice. And we are to be just like Christ. Amen? We're to be just like him. But we can't make any sacrifices because our living, whatever it is of our living, I would, but I can't. I gotta do this. And God is saying, now go ahead, do what you gotta do. When you don't understand what I've done for you, and you couldn't do this for me. I told you, maybe let me help you. We say, be careful who you entertain, because it may be what? An angel, right? Here's where we put that angel. We put that angel at our house. He knocked on our door. Hi, just wondered if you could, give me something to eat or give me a plate. Oh yes, I see that angel. Don't you understand? God says he comes as a thief in the night. God sends that angel when you least expect. What are you talking about? I'm talking about your Matthew 25. That's what I'm talking about. Lord, when did I do these things? When did I make a sacrifice? When did I decide that, but Lord, I didn't do that for you. I was doing it for that man that knocked on my door that needed something. Lord, I didn't do this to you. I noticed that individual was a really hot day, and I noticed, let me give him some water. Lord, you don't understand. I decided, you know what, why don't I just go and, see a brother or two in prison. So you're trying to say I saw you? He says, yeah, that was your angel. That's what we miss. That's your angel. That's the one when you least expect. I made a statement prior, this is a while back in Numbers. It's called vows. Be careful because we've all made them. You've made a vow to God. You told God you were willing to make a sacrifice. When issues come up, but I got this to do, I got that to do, you know, I'll get there, but I got this to do. It's called sacrifice. Why? Because God says you don't get it. You only have a job because I gave it. But you don't see the big picture because you're not afraid anymore. See, you're okay now. You're living okay now, so there's no fear. Balaam, you're scared to death. That's why you can be so bold in speech. Remember we talked about that Sunday. That's why you can be so bold in your speech. It doesn't matter anymore, Mr. King, what you got to say. I just had a donkey talk to me. You don't get it. I just had an angel with a sword in front of me. You can't come close to hurting me. You, Mr. King, can give me finances. But Mr. King, an angel of the Lord just gave me what? Life. He just gave me life. He was ready to take me out. He rescued me. He allowed me and told me I don't have a choice. When you go to see you, Bala, to see you as a man. Don't see you as a great, all-powerful king, but see you as a man. Because the king has spoken through the angel of the Lord. That's what he's trying to get him to see. So then what was your 39, 30, no, I want you to read some more. Give me some more on the next note.
Okay. Note how the king celebrated Balaam's coming. The king offered pagan sacrifices of sheep and goats to his gods. Note that Balaam participated with Balak, eating the meat that was sacrificed. The king then took Balaam up to Baal, that is, some hill or high place where Baal was worshipped. He did this so that they could scan the camp of Israel together.
See what's going on? Did you see just that quick?
Yeah.
That's why I told you. You really think Balaam wants to do this? All of a sudden, somebody else had took a high down. They told him to look down. They said if you just bow down. You see me? You see it, right? Here's the king saying, come on up. As a matter of fact, let's worship. And what do? He presented him with all the idol food. And you didn't, remember you just said whatever God tells me, that's what I'm going to speak. Did you see it now? I told you. We ain't spent no time. 1 minute out of your mouth, you said whatever the Lord tells me, that's what I'm going to speak. The next minute, what? Shoot, man, this food is good. Woo, yeah, this is great food. Watch this. You didn't go up to the mountains to have a meal. You went up to the mountains to worship with this man. Someone made a statement probably a couple of weeks ago. Well, I can, a lot of times I can't make it, so what I can do is I can stay at home, I can worship at home. I said, really? I says, help me. You really can worship at home. Yeah, we have the bread and the juice, and they was laughing when they said it. But it wasn't funny to me. I used to love this. Melvin used to say this all the time. He says, Warren has a great sense of humor. Till you start tampering with that Bible. Then all of a sudden his demeanor changes. What is he saying is, I'm dead serious about the word of God. You can play with me all day long, but you don't play with God. And here's this man. 1 minute out of your mouth, you say you're going to do good. And the next minute, the man is telling you to go up to the mountains. Guys, you gotta see the big picture. He ain't going up to the mountains just to have a meal. They could have a meal down below. They're going up to make us for the ultimate sacrifice. They're going up to worship. Stop and think about it. So I told the gentleman, I have one more thought that I just want to ask you. Since you say you can worship at home, then why don't I worship? Then you're trying to tell me I can worship anywhere. So why are you beating up the Methodists? Why are you beating up the Baptists? Why are you beating up the Jehovah's Witnesses? Why are you beating up the Catholics? If you can go anywhere, then it doesn't matter. I said, I don't know what we're going to do in Matthew 16, 18. I said, I heard him say, upon this rock I will build my church. I says, that church, we know is a called out body. I says, but really, what is he saying? He's saying, what I'm going to do is build, or what I'm going to do is create, what I'm going to do is develop a people that will do things my way. That's what Jesus is saying. That's my church. The church that does things my way. Not what you conjure up in your head to me, for it to me. I told you, then I got hit. Remember I told y'all, then I got hit with the forsaking the assembly. And then I had to deal with that. I said, I'm sorry, that forsaking the assembly is worship. That over in Hebrews 10, 24, 25, that is worship. No, Lord, that's fellowshipping. It says assembly. This is when you assemble. That is worship. You can't get around that. He says, don't forsake it. When the doors open, come. That's what he's saying. Come, be there. Balaam, he's told you some stuff too. He told you what I want you to say. So why are you sitting up there eating the fat calf and lambs and drinking and having a great time? Why are you now looking over? Looking over. Your text said that he's looking over. What's it? 39 says what? Well, Calvin, what does that say? 39?
So Balaam went to Balaam with Balaam.
Come on.
And they came to Kejar.
Come on.
Hazar.
Come on.
Kejar, Hazar. Then Balak offered oxen and sheep.
Come on.
And he said to some, and he sent some to Balaam.
Come on.
And the princes who were with him.
And that's something. Come on.
41. So it was the next day that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high places of Baal.
Of Baal. So watch this. So now I take you up to the high places of Baal, right?
Uh-huh.
What we going to do up in high places of Baal?
You want to look at it, the people see how it is.
Oh, no. I took you to the high places of Baal. B-A-A-L, right? To do what? To worship. You forgot about your gods. See that? You forgot about your gods. So let me bring you back to your gods. Your little G-O-Ds that have you, watch this, that had you, with all this power. Because didn't you make a statement? Maybe I'm wrong, but I heard you make a statement. And when I go back up, I heard you say, what was it in 38? I heard you say, now have I any power at all to say anything. See it in your Bible. 38. You see it in your Bible. Well, Balak said, let me get you your Bibles back. I don't know where you lost them. But come on back up here and worship. You come on back up here and worship so you can get your powers back since you lost your powers. And you got to speak whatever God tells you to speak. So watch this. Let me get you back up here so that you can worship. So then watch it. So then you can do, remember what? The gods. So then you can do what? The purpose of me. See, a lot of times when you're talking to people, you lose what your debate or what your argument or what your fuss was all about. You know, somebody was talking about baptism, and you went in, then they shifted and started talking about can't drink, and then they shifted and went, and you didn't, now you all over the book trying to find all this stuff, when whatever it was, subject matter, that's what you should have stayed with. And never lose subject matter. Stay on the subject matter. The subject matter was what God told you. That was the subject matter. How did you get off of the subject matter? How did you let this man bamboozle you? Well, watch this. When you really see who's the smarter one of them all, Balak. Balak's never lost his agenda. He wants you to come to do what? To curse people. Balak never. You the one lost your agenda. You know, I didn't bring you all the way down here for you to say you're not going to curse the people. I brought you here, then I took you up, I fed you, I conned you, whatever you want to call it. I suckered you, whatever you want to call it. But what'd you say? Manipulated. I manipulated you. I took you back up and gave you the best of best. Then I said, come go to worship with me. But I worship here. He said, wait a minute, but God wants me to serve Him and Him only. That's because you forgot your gods. Let me get you back to your gods so you'll be all right. Now watch this. You'll say what? Your 41 says what? 40. Come on.
At the end of 41.
Yeah, and then watch it. Your 41 says what? Come on.
It says, so it was the next day that Balak and Balaam took Balaam and brought him up to the high places of Baal, that from there they might observe the extent of the people.
And that's something. Tiffany, close me out with God takes
all the events throughout the universe, twisting and turning and working them out for the good of those who love Him, those who have been called according to His eternal purpose. This is exactly what God was doing with Balaam, twisting and turning and using the experiences of Balaam to protect His dear people. Moreover, He was going to use Balaam to proclaim some glorious messages to the world. God is God, that is, He's sovereign, almighty, able to do exactly what He wills. Therefore, God overrode Balaam's greed and covetousness, determining to use him to bless God's dear people instead of cursing them.
And that's let's go to your new. 23:1 says what? Who's reading the Bible? No. 23:1 says what?
What people? It says, in 41, it says, and he saw from there a portion of the people. Was that the Israelites?
Yeah.
Well, his people.
Who could he else have seen?
Because he wanted him to, the purpose was to curse them. These are the
Yeah,
people that
because he said they like what? They like nets. They everywhere. So let me take you up so you can look down. There they are. Those are the ones that you need to curse. And I hope I got you aligned back with your gods, so you do it. So watch 23. 23:1 says, I don't care who reads, 23:1 says.
Then Balaam said to Balak, build 7 altars for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here.
Isn't that something? Look what he's doing. Isn't that something? Balaam is requesting this, right? Watch this. Sounds like he's been to serve the Lord, right? 7 bulls and 7 rams. he finna serve the Almighty, right? Read verse 2.
And Balak did just as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam offered a bull and a ram on each altar.
Oh, he is moving right. Jeff, give me home.
This chapter focuses upon Balaam trying to curse Israel, God's people. However, God stops Balaam in his tracks. God refuses to let Balaam curse his people. Instead, God takes control of Balaam's tongue and makes 7 astounding prophecies about his people. Prophecies that speak to all of God's people down through human history.
Look why Balaam is in your Bible. You see this? Look why the story of Balaam is in your Bible. God can take anybody he wants and get his will done. Anybody he wants. I can take the most evil person and get my will done through that person and make that person look like a fool. Did you hear me? And get what I want accomplished. I'm not going to go any farther, but I just want us to see, because we're now going into 23. Everything looks right. Everything looks like Balaam is on track now. He's going to do what God has told him to do. Wait till you see the twist in this thing. Balaam is forever fighting the Almighty. He is forever fighting. He does not want to speak for God. He wants to speak for his gods. And God, the Almighty, basically says, who made you? Who made you? Who made you? How dare you to think that you're going to do something and I told you to do something. I told you, this is going to make Balaam look stupid. But God looked great. This can also have Balaam killed. Stop and think about it. He's going to rebel against Balak. Balak has now served this man, the best of best. Okay. Where's these animals that Balaam is requesting coming from? He didn't bring nothing with him. That's right. He didn't bring nothing with him. Stop and think about it. He didn't bring nothing with him. All he did was get on his donkey and went on down the way. Whatever he needs, give it to him. Did you hear me? Whatever he needs, give it to him. I heard somebody else say to somebody, there's no more wine. There's no more wine. And then I saw the mother go to the son and say, there's no more wine. And he says, woman, it's not my time. Wait a minute. She went to the servants and said, whatever he needs, give it to him. I told her, look at the old and look at the new. It's amazing how God gets what he wants. Let me try this. You don't have to worry about leaving this world too soon. You won't. Whenever what God has willed for us to do is complete, and until it's complete, you don't go home. You stay here until whatever God has willed for you to do is going to be done. You can't get around it. So here's my point. You can be 100 years old and can't figure out why you're still living here 100 years old. That's because you still haven't completed what God has asked of you. Or you can be a few months old and then have to go back to God because his will is completed by bringing you in for about a month and then sending you back out. I don't understand. You're not to understand. Because his ways And his thoughts are not ours. And when we understand this, Balaam he still don't get it, guys. This still ain't registered in his head. Don't you understand when you're evil, you're going to always think evil? You got scared for a minute, but you're going to run right back into your old ways. I've always said this. God judges a what? A lifestyle. But, you know, I noticed when they were getting ready to die, they were just such beautiful, loving, caring, kind. Oh, girl, they were just beautiful people. Why are you so excited about that? Because they just changed. They just changed overnight. Remember? That's not your lifestyle. That's an overnight change. Your lifestyle is when that which was overnight, you're now showing, you're now proving that that is who you are. Balaam's going to show who he is. Them colors is going to come up in just a little bit, and you're going to see it. Guys, are there any questions? Like I said, get ready. I told you, this ain't